Well, everyone, welcome to World at War Comics. I am so excited to have Mr. Brett Bean on. Brett has the hottest comics in the comic book industry right now in Dork. I'm hoping, just as a fan, that all of you watching had an opportunity to get your hands on this. I know it's exploded. We'll talk about all of that, Brett. But what a fun read. I was lost for about 25 minutes as I was reading this. It was just so much fun. There was humor, there was gore and fighting, which I absolutely love. Like, it had everything I love. I am a big Conan the Barbarian fan, so I felt like Jim Zub. I saw his funny bone, and it just all went in a different direction. I absolutely loved it. But welcome to the podcast, Brett. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, I am blown away by what has happened. I'm sure probably
you've been blown away. Let me tell you, I've been blown away too. I agree with you. Can't agree more, Tommy. Spot on. No notes.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy for you. I thought maybe what we could do as we start to delve into Dork, I would love to kind of understand, one, what is the genesis for this storyline? How long have you been sitting on this storyline? And when did you know it was the right time to put it out there?
So I've been working on it since probably 2019, 2020. I think somebody even mentioned it is like, hey, is this out of print art book the first place where you see Dork? It's like, oh yeah, I did throw in a couple character designs in there, knowing that I wanted to do more, but I had to kick that can down the road. Most of it was kind of all plotted out during the pandemic. And then Scotty came calling for I Hate Fairyland. He's like, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this adventure with me? And I was like, oh, yeah, let me go do a couple issues. I thought at most he's gonna get tired of me within 5, right? He's like, the Brett ride is over. 5 is good. Thanks. Move along now, right? So you kind of go like, sure, I could do anything for five issues. And then it ended up being 20 issues and 2.5 years. And during that time, I would just sort of work on it and work on the character development and go, well, one day he's going to get tired of me. One day the audience is going to quit caring, and then I'll go do my thing. And then finally it just came time, and I had to, you reach a precipice and you just go, I got a feeling that I can keep rolling with this, but if I don't use that energy towards what I really feel is in here, it's going to go away. And it's like, you never live with the regrets, right? I'd rather live with a failure than a regret. So at that point, that's when I kind of told him, was like, hey, I think let's finish up a storyline. I told him in advance, so it wasn't like, I'm out tomorrow, sort of like leaving somebody behind, because that sucks. And then he beat it out the last 5 issues. And then I was sort of like, okay, that's it. No takesy backsies. This is it. Now you're in the great unknown. You have no idea what's going to come next. And then it kind of puts a fire under you, and you just go, now I got to go figure it out. So yeah, that's kind of the genesis of it from beginning, middle, and end for the most part.
Amazing. And then in that 2019 leading into the pandemic, like, how far ahead of your storyline do you have? Quite a bit plotted out?
Once I sort of figured out the world building part, which is I come from the Hollywood side of things and video games and stuff, so the world building part is really important. But the problem is a lot of people don't realize that in stories and books, plot and story driven material is the important part along with the art. And so then I had to kind of disassemble, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? Does this have legs enough to where I'm going to want to do it? And do I want to do it when it fails? Because a lot of the times is, if you're happy with the product, you can keep making it, right? So if nobody bought this book, I had a plan to, like, I will at least kick the can down the road for 10 issues and finish it up. That's going to be my personal goal, right? So even if the numbers are bad and like, Image, please just let me get to 10, please just let me get to 10, right? Because I believed in it. And there's another thing where you're chasing the puck, right? It's like, oh no, you shouldn't be chasing the thing that everybody else does, because then you're not really happy with it. And so even if it fails, you're like, I don't want to invest my puck time anymore. That sucked. So finding that was the hardest part. because you're doing all of it in the dark. Because there's no real feedback. There's no somebody saying like this is going to be a hit or people are going to like this or they're going to accept you for who you are as a person. And you're like I have no idea. And so you have to find that in the dark and then go, this is my personal motivation. I want this because of this, 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 and this. And so that sort of guides all of it. And then you have a story. And then I beat out the 15. I go, oh, this does have legs. I have ideas up until 20. Okay, great. Now I feel confident. I can go to Image. And I was building up the first 3 issues because Image Comics is self-publishing still at the end of the day. So I was self-financing all of this, using my money from the conventions, using from original art sales. It was going into a pool in my checkbook. This is the money you're going to pay Nate and Jean-Francois and get the logo done and get all the stuff that you believe in and line all that stuff up because you're your own boss. It really is true. So it's just part of the journey, and it's Wild West. So you are learning the ins and outs very fast in weird ways.
Well, we were talking before we hit record about TV, film, video games. How much of an impact on the learnings from all of that has helped you from a storytelling standpoint and being able to put Dork into the position that it is in right now?
100% I used everything.
Yeah.
And I would say, I think any door that somebody opens up, they will end up using the knowledge they gain from that door. So a lot of people get really worried about like, well, what if I choose this or over this? And they sort of get that like that stuck of going, well, what if I don't like that door? It's like you'll use all of it. I still use my 3D information when I was the 3D environment artist at Sony. I still use every single thing that I use because you're either going to learn something about yourself, your work ethic, you're going to learn about deadlines. All these things play into what you decide to do with your life. So to me, the story really was key. So a lot of the film and TV work, it's story, 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 right? Get the story beats down, get something there. And I learned really early on that your camera, which is basically your storyboard in a comic panel, your camera is the third character. So you've got your characters in your story, but your camera, where you place it, is your main character that people are going to feel first, and then they're going to read the emotions on the character. But wherever you put that camera angle is really important. I learned that from storyboards and film and TV, for sure.
Amazing. When you were working with Scotty, obviously that's a much different like function of how you write a comic book, right? Because you're in charge of the visual, he's in charge of the storytelling. My assumption is, although I think as I talk to artists, excuse me, and writers, even though it starts like that, there's a lot of back and forth as you're starting to build out the stories. But that process where Scotty is outlining what the story is, and then you having that visual with the camera and being able to plot everything, like how much different is that than it is to do it all yourself? Is there one that you like better than the other? Do you kind of like being in kind of control of both the story and the art? Is there something positive about having someone else writing the story and you reacting to it?
Well, funny enough, I'm actually in that position right now as well. As with I Hate Fairyland too, I like it both. I think if you believe in the subject matter and you're working with good people, it's a fun experience. If you took the job because you need to pay the bills, or I call it beer run money, it's a slog. So I understand it because we all have been in that position of like working on something you have to say yes to, and then hopefully you build your career enough where you can say no to those jobs and say yes to the ones that are more interesting to you. So I like them both as long as you're in the right environment with the right people and creative. And Scotty was great because he didn't write camera angles. He didn't write to say and dictate. Like some writers do that, and honestly, I would not work with him. I would just go like, no, no, stay in your lane, bro, because I'm not going to write back and say, I think this is funny or do this.
Yeah.
So I want that respect back and forth. Like if you're hiring me to do this portion, I'm accepting your portion, and then we meet in the middle somewhere, right? Because I think that's a respectful back and forth. And so Scotty would just write out like, Gert does this and this. And then I would sort of figure out, and even like we started to trust each other enough to where he's like, oh, Brett, you know what you're doing. I'm going to say, Gert does something funny. Sometimes he writes it and he's like, oh, this is specific. And then somebody's like, make up something funny. And then, oh, it's visual gag Brett time. And then I would sit there and make up the visual gag, and then he would write to it afterwards, more Stan Lee way. And so it was this nice flow back and forth between, but you get that trust later on, right? That's probably like, I would say about third or fourth issue where you kind of feel like you're firing on the cylinders together and you kind of get each other and everything. Because at first it was his project, and so I was really keen on doing exactly what he says and what he wants, because I want the same respect if it was my property. And that's the same way I treated my projects in film and TV too. So bring it all back where I go, oh, I'm going to give them all the designs because I'm problem solving for this person. They're paying me to help get their vision out. Okay, then here's all the things. Let's find a solution. And so I kind of treated it like that. And then it became this sort of amalgam between us where it was much easier to kind of work and blast stuff out really fast. So yeah, it was fun. It was a really cool project.
Now, in your prior experience with, you had TV, film, which I assume the processes are very, a lot of similarities, but the processes are different. Then you have video game, which I probably assume is a lot different than the others. Storyboards, whether it's animation, probably different than all those. Out of all of your experience in the past, what's the closest to creating a comic book?
I think storyboards is the closest.
Okay, yeah.
I think that you could tell a story with simple drawings. You've seen black and white stories, and if you have a compelling couple of characters on the screen and you can beat out those storyboards, I think that's probably the closest representation. And everything after that is more like shine and pit, spit polish sort of thing, that people gravitate towards, where they're like, ooh, shiny stuff and blood and shit. But I would say that's the bones. Storyboards is the bones of the comic, along with the writing. So I think those two things are really the strong. And when they work together, everything else on top of that kind of layers correctly. In 3D animation school, we called it chroming a turd. So you could have something bad and you can make it shiny, but if the beginning stages is bad, you're chroming the turd. It's still a turd, no matter how great you make it look, right? So to me, the storyboards is probably the closest representation of like getting that. So that layout stage, and that was really fun to see, because Scotty was like, in these simple drawings, he's like, I know exactly where you're going with this. So all the bones are there. I'm gonna go, so it was nice.
Awesome. Now, when you look back at your history and all those other things outside of comics, is there one project that you worked on that you think prepared you the most for comics? Because you work with DreamWorks, if I'm not mistaken, right? Sony, like you've worked with some pretty big powerhouse organizations that are putting out a lot of great art.
Yeah, I worked at Riot Games. I worked, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, DreamWorks, Disney, Sony. Yeah, a lot of different companies. Jim Henson's Creature Shop. I would say the one that makes me giggle and still smile to this day is Jim Henson's Creature Shop. That's still like the one where I have to pinch myself and go like, really? You get to work with Jim Henson's Creature Shop? This is so cool. I'm actually doing a job with them next week.
Oh, how is that?
Yeah. So they're the only ones that have an open door policy with me. Everybody else, it depends on my time, but I always told the Henson shop, it's like, if no matter what, when the doorbell rings, I will answer the Henson shop. So I would say, I don't know if any one of them did. I think there's so many learning and stumblings and screw ups. What you really learn is to problem solve. All of them have the same run through, which is, don't accept the first decision. If you start thinking about art as problem solving and less about like a finished piece of illustration to try to sell somebody, that's the key. It lets all of the ego go. It lets all of the extra stuff, because you have to get all the wrong out of the way to find the right.
Yeah.
That's problem solving. And a lot of people worry about, I want to make this perfect in this thing, and then it's going to be this, and then the muse has to call me at the right time, and then they get all the stuff in their way in the pursuit of it as excuses to not be creative and fail. And it's like, it's really just get out of the way. You got to go find the answer, and it's in there somewhere. So I learned that across all of them. There's no one thing that taught me that. I screwed up everywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have, right?
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
How long in your career did it take to get to that point where you now have that knowledge and you're able to have that kind of reaction?
Oh, I'll let you know.
Yeah, yeah. That's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's always a little bit of imposter syndrome. I don't think that goes away. I think you're either somebody who has it or you're somebody who thinks you don't stink at all. And I think those are just two different personality types. I am not saying one way or the other who's right or who's wrong, but I know that who I am as a person, there will always be imposter syndrome and seeing other people at the top of their game and going, oh my gosh, look how good they are. Oh my gosh, look how great that story is. Oh my gosh, look what they did. I want to go try my best at that. I'm going to screw up, but wow, I want to now. So I think everybody who pushes that boulder up, whether there be a writer, a creator, musician, whatever, you're always pushing that up. And when you get to a certain stage where you're competent or professional, whatever that means, when you get to that stage, you should be hungry enough to find another mountain to climb. You just turn that boulder and you go, wow, look how far I went. And then you just start pushing again towards that direction. And I think that creates a sense of wander and wonder that I really enjoy with all the creators that I've respected over the years and people I've looked up to and people that I listen to. That's always been their mentality. And so I try to foster that feeling, So if that makes sense, yeah.
It does. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I appreciate that, Brett. Let's talk a little bit about Dork now, because just from what we're seeing from a fan perspective, issue 1 comes out, it flies off the shelves. I am so fortunate that I was able to get a first printing of D, the Howard.
Shout out to Jason Howard.
Jason Howard.
Awesome dude. Everyone go support Jason Howard.
I was just saying before we hit record, if I would have known what I know now, I would have bought a couple of each, right? But anyways, I'm happy that other people got it. Well, they did a second printing. That's sold out. It's already sold.
That one
for a third printing.
Yeah, that one was a surprise. Yeah, and I think my only response to the image is you got to be shitting me, and I got a reply of, you better put on your shit pants. I love those guys. I love Image. They're great. And that was the response. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that's real. You're not joking. I never thought in a million years, man. I'm blown away. I still walk around. And it's funny because I was talking to Ryan Otley today, and I was like, I don't feel any different. I don't feel like anything's happened. One, because also you're not paid yet because you paid out of everything. So I haven't been to a convention. I haven't gotten paid for my comic, and I still step on Legos and I have to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich for a 6-year-old. So to me, I feel like there's something that's happened, but nothing's happened, right? I still go on walks with my lovely wife, and I still, everything, I don't know, I still feel the same. But yeah, there's this weird thing that's sort of like out there that I did and that people responded to. And I think it's amazing. But when Image says like, we need a third cover, I'm like, ha, 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 sure you do. And they're like, no, you need to get to work. You're like, oh, you're serious. Oh, okay. Because you can't imagine any of this kind of stuff ever happening. It just doesn't happen. So, and nobody can explain it. Like I joke with Ryan, I joke with all my buddies, Jason Howard, all these people are my friends. All the people that did the covers and everything, these are all my friends. And they go, can you explain it to me? They're like, no. We thought we were gonna fall flat on your. No, they didn't say anything like that. No, I'm just kidding. Good friends always sort of rib you. That's the way it's supposed to go, right?
That's how you know good friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So. This is Andrew right here. He says it's great to see new IP selling so well and being responded to so strongly. I couldn't agree more. This is refreshing it's always refreshing when you get a brand new title. This one's a lot different than a lot of stuff that's out. So it's, you got that fantasy side to it, the comedy side to it. And we were talking a little bit before, I think we're both Conan the Barbarian fans.
Yeah, I've got one of my originals back there.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I got a Conan back there. Oh yeah, that's my front and center Conan there. I got another one in the other room. I've been a collector and a fan since I was a kid. And most of the time I would go to conventions, and whatever profit I made at a convention, I would buy original art from somebody. So I've collected stuff for like 20, 25 years. It's like, it would just go, it's like, well, I'm already working at a job, so all of this is gravy, free money, and it would just go back out the door. It never left the con. Never. My wife would just roll her eyes like, "What'd you get this time?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
You said this
sorry.
was a business, right, Brett?
Yeah. It's a tax write-off?
There you go. Yeah, I like that. I like
Right.
that. That boy Chris says, you better get a head start on that fourth cover, my
There's
friend.
no look, that's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. It's not
Did you
gonna
say
happen.
that after the second print, though?
Yeah, that's a lot. That hits a different. No, we're just gonna move on from that. That is too that's too beyond my understanding of comprehension. So
Yeah.
I just have to be extremely blown away by how many people like it and appreciate it and want to follow the story. It really is amazing to feel that. I'm an empath too, so it's a very big learning curve over the last 2 weeks. Taking all of those feelings and sponging it in. I'm not used to it. I definitely like if anybody who's seen me at my panels, you've already seen me cry about real stories about people who were involved in my life. So I'm gonna be a freaking wreck because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
So
I
sorry
love
everybody. So yeah, so it's great. It's amazing. It's amazing.
it.
It
Yeah.
really is.
What I would say is I would do a cover for like issue 5 that doesn't say too much about issue 5, so that just in case you could use it for a fourth printing. I'm just gonna leave it.
Oh, there you go. So I have an idea
Oh
of
yeah.
what I want to do. And on the drive home from the comic shop today, I made myself laugh out loud, and that's when I was like, okay, that's going to be it then.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of beginning ideas, and they
Uh-huh.
kind of sit there, and I go, well, it doesn't really make me laugh. And then I came up with one. I was like, okay, that's the one that'll be the one. So
Yeah.
I have an idea for, and again, it's going to be like in the future or a special edition, like at a convention, and then it'll sit there, and then if it happens, then you're like, this is stupid crazy. But yeah.
What I would love to see is a throwback to the old Robert E. Howard stories of Conan, the Lancer books with the Frank Frazetta cover, with him holding the sword. Have Dork right there with his sword,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
in the same pose with the shield on the back with the eyeball hanging over the shoulder.
yeah.
Oh man, Brett, that would be amazing. We're both Conan fans. I think you deserve that at this point to have that kind of
Yeah, that would be pretty epic. Yeah, Frazetta is a king, so yeah,
yeah,
he was the king of
absolutely,
everything. Yeah. See,
absolutely.
that's like one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't want to touch somebody who's that prophetic, that's somebody who's so amazing. You're like, oh, can't do that justice at all. So I put Frazetta up there and Bill Watterson. There's a couple of people I'm like, nah, I don't. Somebody asked me to do a commission once, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do any justice to the amazingness of some of these,
Yeah.
creators. So
Nah, I think it would be pretty epic, man.
yeah, it would be.
All right, let's get into kind of the character design
Okay.
of Dork. Absolutely incredible. Tell me the story of how this shield came to life, because I feel like although the main character obviously is the star, but that shield had me rolling. I read it when I got issue 1, and then this morning I stopped at a coffee shop before I head into the office for work, and I'm reading
Okay.
it, and I'm just chuckling by myself. And I'm a 50-year-old in a corner drinking a latte, and I'm sure people are going, "What is wrong with that guy?" It's like
Right.
issues. But can you kind of walk through those two designs?
Sure. Yeah. So Dork. So once I kind of knew what I wanted to do as a character, I needed to come up with a name so I could start making designs towards something. So the hardest part is when you're trying to design in the dark, it's hitting a bullseye in the dark. There's no way you can do it. So you need something to kind of aim for. So even in Hollywood and TV, you have little beats where you're saying like the character should feel like this, should be like this, do this, right? And so once I had those sort of ideas out, then I started to make characters where I have a couple drawings where I raised them up and made them a little bit more realistic and went because everybody told me you got to draw realism. You got if you want your comic to succeed, you got to draw like this. You got to draw like this guy. You got to do this. And every time I did it with my character, it felt false. Again, in that stage of like I feel like I'm chasing a puck. I'm not doing something true to me. So no matter what, even if I fall flat on my face, I won't be satisfied because I tried to do something that somebody else wanted, not me, right? Especially after 20 years of making everybody else's dreams come true. You're like, no, I'm finally going to do this for me. I better make it for me. But I have a lot of those drawings where I did it and I raised them up and I said, well, this just kind of feels not mine. This feels like something else, feels like another property. Okay, go back to the drawing board, da da da. And so it's a lot of back and forth. And then I kind of really broke down, well, what about the the dwarf side or the orc side, or do this or do that? And then I just went, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In my world, they can be anything. They can be any size, they can be any shape. I can do whatever I want because the rules are mine. They're not somebody else's. And that was a breakthrough because you really do, once you realize all the beliefs that you have are sort of set upon you by society and other books and other creations. And then when you go, oh yeah, hey, that's something I don't actually have to adhere to. That's not, I try to tell my kids, like, there's a lot of rules we do as a society to follow, and there are other ones that are maybe you can get away with. The only ones that are real is physics. Try not landing when you jump. Guess what? So those are the real ones. Those are the ones you can't get away from. Everything else is negotiable. And so once I realized that and could break away from that, then it got a lot easier to just make a design I felt good about and I felt inspired by. At the end of the day, I want people to have a little bit of sense of hope with the character, and so that was sort of like a very important for me to nail down. There's a thing in film and TV where they always talk about there's a certain je ne sais quoi. There you can't explain it, but there's this. That's the word I'm looking for. There's a sweet spot to something that is appealing, and appeal is such a word you can't dictate. There's no substance to that word. It's so very subjective. And so long ago, what I thought was truth in design equals appeal. So if you can nail down what you're trying to say and the designs that you make reflect that feeling from you, it will be appealing to the people who are ready to listen to it and see it. Because it's not going to be for everybody, right? There are like horror comics that are just as good as anybody else's stuff, but if it doesn't subjectively fit within what you like reading, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not your thing. And so you're looking for that appeal across the things that you want to read, want to be a part of, want to take in, right? So that was the thing. And then you just kind of work on that character design until you go, okay, now it feels like this is a character I want to follow. I want to know what happens to this guy. And then once you find your plot points, you go, oh, this is who the character is. Because at first I had all these other ideas about the character was going to always avoid fighting 24/7. And then when I started writing out stories, I was like, this is going to die within one issue. Like there's a play off of him, but he has to resort to just being in this world. It can't just be 20 issues of avoidance. It's like, well, nobody wants to follow that either. Even for myself, because I'm a fan, I'm like, well, I can't do that either. So you go back and you play off and it's like, well, then I need a foil. I need somebody who's connected to him that can play off of this will he, won't he, back and forth. You gotta, I don't want to, but I'm going to, ba 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 ba. And I love buddy cop movies.
Yeah.
So then you're like, great, let's give you something. And I said, what's funnier? I'm going to give him, because he is defensive.
Yeah.
So he feels like somebody who's like, whoa, 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 everybody back off. Leave me alone, right? I just kind of wanted to be a part of it, but not this much. So I went shield. I was going, okay, well, now do I make a side character or do I make, and then it just popped in and was like, I'm just going to put an eyeball in the middle. Screw it. Let's just see what happens. And then that dictated like, okay, now I just have this magic. Okay, great. Let's just give it and we'll deal with the backstory later. Kick that down the road. And then you go like, great, I need a foil for this. Let's make, oh, funny. It's the opposite. A defensive weapon being very offensive.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, now I have my sort of silly part that makes me giggle.
Yeah.
That leads to the next. And so each thing, it's just problem solving. It's just going like, this is the thing I need to solve. Okay, how do I solve it? And then you go through and you go, great, now I've made myself laugh. Great, move on. Let's go on because you're going to refine as you go. Because if you look at issue 1 and then you look at issue 5 of all these, every comic you've ever read, you can see where their hand skill improves, the way that they draw the character improves, their shorthand improves over time, right? So getting it out the door is the most important thing, which I also learned in video games.
Mm.
The hardest thing to do is get something out the door,
Wow.
right? You can hem and haw forever. You could cut yourself off, you could do da da da. But when you treat yourself like a production, instead of just somebody sitting there in a room, you go like, it's time to put your big boy pants on and get to work. And then you got to get it done. And then you sort of adjust as you go. So that's the kind of rule of thumb that I get stuff done is like, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
The other question I had was the world building, because that's a character in and of itself as well. You have the Scar. Can you kind of talk about the development of the Scar and the role that it's meant to be played within this story? Because I think that's a character in and of itself, I feel, as well. And we're probably going to get to know that character as we go on quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. You will get to know. So now we're in the spot where I don't know as a creator how much I want to dictate to an audience on how they should feel about something. So I do believe I took art as history, and what I really like about art is once it's out there to you, how you view what I wrote is just as important as how I wrote it from me, right? But too many people listen and go, I better change what I think of things because this person said it. And so I thought about this before we even talked, because I've said it on another, somebody caught me on this on another podcast. And that's the thing, is like, I really do want somebody to feel, project, and think about whatever they think it is. It could be so surface level, stupid, doesn't mean anything, or they could put meaning into what it is. But I find that important. That space in between us, I think, is what's magic. It's not just like me getting paid to make a comic and you reading it, right? That space in there where you think about it the way you want to, hear the voices in your mind, you know, all those things. Oh, what did it mean? Oh, that's funny. Or that was, you talked about that, or that's a line that feels, that's straight out of that movie. Oh, that's great. All those things are things that you should take in from your experience instead of it being me telling you. So I think there is more for me to say, but I do think that there's some magic about not telling you what it is from my end. Does that make sense? I don't mean to like poo-poo kill that, but there is reasoning why I don't want to just say, this is what it means, so go out there and only read it this way.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's something special, because I do that with my comics.
Yeah.
Right? I read it and I think about it and I go, oh, that thing, and oh yeah, oh, okay. And that's the magic sauce that I like. The sexy bacon is right there, right? That's the sexy bacon. So
I'm wondering, you know, just from a lesson in that for other writers, how important it is that you don't overdevelop everything within your story, so that there are portions within the story where that fan, as they're reading it, can define it according to their experience.
yeah.
Like, is that really important? I think just as a storyteller in general, to make sure that you're not overdeveloping everything within your story and allowing that freedom for the reader to be able to dictate what that means to them within the context of the writing.
I think it's very important. I also am lucky enough to be a little bit older to where a lot of my stories didn't dictate and didn't over-explain every single beat and every nuance. There were things in there that you had to extrapolate to find out. Like, you could skip over it and you're not any worse for it. But there are things in there that you could read into or feel and go, oh, I feel that way about this. Same thing with music. Like, I was into like Tori Amos. I was into all these other like musicians that had stories to tell in their stories. Tom Waits is my favorite musician of all time. And so you can read things in there, or you can just go, this guy is bat crap crazy. What a weirdo. But I love Tom because he's a weirdo, but he also has so many weird, interesting things to say in his little stories and some of his songs. And so, yeah, I think with all the stuff that I consume, there is a healthy dose of that sort of like, yeah, that's part of my job. Like, even like my favorite class all the way through high school and college was film is literature, and where you pull out themes and you pull out things like I think my first one was on Stand By Me, and pulling out all the themes and what they meant and the difference between the book that Stephen King, wrote and the movie that Rob Reiner did. That's just interesting to sort of dissect that yourself, because you take all that stuff with you. So all those things are extremely important to me. So if somebody gets some of that from my book, it's just gravy on top. That's how I try to write it. And those I think were some of the best Pixar films too.
Yeah.
All those early Pixar films, instead of the ones where they're just like, it's this and this is what it's about. Back in those early years where they had all this stuff that the kids could get, but underneath it you have all these other things kind of happening, and you're like, oh, there's a lot more to this than, Incredibles was amazing, and you could get all this other subtext that was happening outside of the family, and all the kids are like, yay, superheroes! You're like, you have no idea what this movie is really about.
So true. All right, my buddy Will is a funny guy. Funny, he doesn't look like Mr. Bean.
Oh, I know. You know what? That guy's been using my name since. I get no royalties from Mr. Bean. Rowan Atkinson. If I ever meet, his real name is Rowan Atkinson, who I think is a brilliant, funny man. Brilliant. He is great. If you've never seen his stand-up, he has a stand-up show where he does. Oh man, the one where he does the whole theater of Shakespeare in front of everybody. Oh my god, it's so funny. I guess I'm talking like an old person, because all the young people's like.
Or when he played the drums.
Yeah.
One of my favorites ever. Yeah.
With a snot, where he's like, oh, put it back in his. Oh, there's just so many funny sight gags. He's just so funny. It's so good. Anyway, yeah, but he doesn't pay me a dime.
Not a dime. All right. Okay, you're probably going to get this question a lot if you haven't already gotten it a lot already. Obviously, working with Scotty, I Hate Fairyland. We have some questions about whether there is Fairyland close to the Scar. Like, what's going on here?
That's interesting.
Will Dork ever meet Gert? That type of stuff.
I don't know. This. I mean, I don't assume anything. Yeah. I don't plan anything out like that. If stuff comes up, stuff comes up. Right? Yeah. You never really know. It's like the Invincible cover. Like you're making 4 issues, and then you get a text from Image Comics and then Ryan, and you're like, hey, we're doing Invincible month, March Madness, which is also why my book got moved up to February.
Oh, okay.
So I was supposed to go on my birthday vacation, and everything's supposed to be good. And then March, my book was supposed to come out, and they're like, well, you know what? You're kind of screwed, because once Invincible hits, they're gonna eat all of the air. Yeah. And it's like, can we move to February? I'm like, sure, February works. We're gonna do February 4th. Oh, the day that I actually am on an airplane on my 50th birthday vacation. Okay, if that's the way it's got to be, that's the way it's got to be. Hey, honey. Yeah. So it all kind of worked out, but then you go, oh, I have this opportunity to now do my own cover and sort of like, hopefully, make Ryan smile, right? And so that's the really cool thing, is you get to play in other people's sandbox for a day, and it's really cool. So who knows? I can't say, what the future holds. But it's just one day at a time, right? I just want to make a comic that I believe in, and hopefully other people believe in and enjoy the ride, and get everything done. Yeah.
Well, I guess the good thing is the success of issue 1 being birthed out of your birthday. I think that's a pretty cool present, I think.
It wasn't a bad time.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy time. I think Chris is actually on here. He texted like, dude, it's a little bit nuts, because I had not followed because I was so nervous. Like, I didn't want to know that I failed yet, because on my birthday, that's what you're prepared for. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to know on my birthday that I screwed up. Like, nobody's buying it. It's a piece of trash, right? And so I stayed away from it. And then when Image said, like, you need a new cover, you need to do something, and you're like, I'm in Hawaii, not gonna happen. But then Chris was like, so how's it going? And I just said, well, what did I say? Chris, you can probably text it better than I can. I said, like, it's like diarrhea in gym class, just really bad timing, is what I texted him. I said, it's a great problem to have, not the PE thing, but it's a great problem to have. But it's just like, oh man, out of all All 4 days I wanted to just relax and let go of everything.
Yeah.
It was the worst timing and for the best thing possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you accept it and you go like, yeah, that was my 50th is going to be one for the journal to write to the kids. And like, kids, guess what happened on Daddy's 50th? This was kind of a crazy week. You remember when I would take you snorkeling? Dad was freaking out the entire time. I was screaming at the fishes the entire time.
I love it. I love it. Infestadone says that he had an opportunity, which Four Color Fantasies is an awesome comic shop. I used to live in SoCal. Love that shop.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He said he was able to meet you there. So keep up the great work.
Thank you. Yeah, it was nice meeting you too. I don't know what your face looks like. I just see an image, but it was nice seeing you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Timing is everything. Vacation round 2 incoming, right?
Yeah, you hope so. Yeah, my brother's just like, are we going to Peru now? Can you afford going to Peru now? I was like, I might be able to go to Peru now. That would be awesome. Yeah. 2027. He's already plotting it out. He's like, okay, 2027. That's where we're going. I'm like, yeah. Figure it out.
I've been to Peru, I think 20, 21, 22 times. I have a friend there. You're gonna love it. Just so you know.
I can't wait. I've got all these bucket list things. I think travel for me expands every single part of my world. Like I lived in Portugal for 2 years, and and when we would go around, that's a magical spot. And I've met art friends all over the world, and it's such a lucky opportunity to be able to see the way the world really is and how it works, and not just stay in this bubble. And it's just it's really amazing. So Machu Picchu and Peru and all that kind of stuff, that has been on my bucket list for a while. So yeah.
Be interesting to see how some of those backgrounds of Machu Picchu make it into Dork.
Yeah.
For sure, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think this is you and him thing here, but at least you'll never forget it in the zipline guy calling you grandpa.
Yeah, so I was having a good day. That was like after like Dork sold out. You need to do more. And I took my 11-year-old ziplining, and on the third one in, we're getting unharnessed. And he's like, I think it's really cool that you take your grandson ziplining. And I laughed. I just laughed and went, that's my son. And he's like, oh, sorry, man. I'm like, no, you're 19. Of course you have no idea. Of course, everybody has kids at 22 and they never, like, that's it. I get that. That's funny. That's putting in the pocket. That's really funny. I'm keeping that one. One day that's going to get used on something. So yeah, that one brought me right back down to reality.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty damn funny, though.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
Infestadone said he gifted you a Dork sketch.
Oh, yeah. No,
so
yeah.
I remember, yeah.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, I got it right over there. Yeah, it's right down there. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, we got issue 2 coming, right?
We do.
Issue 1, second printing's done. A third printing is coming. I think issue 2 is going to go to a second printing if I'm not if I read something correctly. Did you hear that yet?
No. So
no,
I have not heard anything.
Okay. I don't want to.
That is gossip and rumors.
Okay,
slanderous lies, sir.
The internet never lies, Brett.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think you're absolutely right on that. Yeah, not to my knowledge, not to my understanding, but I mean, that's out of my ability to actually. I'm a small monkey with a small circle of knowledge and understanding, and when things get too big for me, you know what I mean? There's like all these circles that gravitate out, and I go, that's great. Brain can't compute.
Yeah.
Brain can't compute. It'll shut down. I'll get the pinwheel, and you'll just see the pinwheel on a Mac, and Brett shuts down for the day. So, yeah. We'll see.
Having worked on I Hate Fairyland, and then having Dork, which does have a large comedic side to it, how often throughout your day, like I've had a couple creators on that are also comedians on the side, and I asked this question of them too. How often throughout your day are you mentally putting something in your head that happened that was really funny that you want to utilize within your storyline?
Oh, I think it happens all the time.
Does it? Yeah.
I think it happens all the time. Yeah, my son and I just did one today.
Really?
It just happened today. I'm not going to say it because I wrote it down and went, oh, that's gold. Oh, that's gold. Good job. So you just try to be open. And I
Yeah.
think once you're open to creativity, when you're open to a little, I call it controlled chaos. When you're open to controlled chaos, inspiration will hit you in other ways. I also try to tell my students and other people when I was teaching is put your put your phone away. When
Mm.
it's time to go out into the world and you're creative and you want to be a creator, you got to put your phone away because your phone is nothing but consuming. You're not thinking, you're not wandering, you're not wondering, and you will miss opportunities to see what other people are doing,
Mm.
and they're going to give you gold. You're going to see an interaction, you're going to see somebody walking, you're going to see something, and you're going to go, oh, that's really funny, or oh, that's really interesting, or oh, that's a really cool character design. I remember the first time I saw one of the guys with the dreadlocks, and he had it all up in one of those giant like buns, and he had two of them hanging down like they were like just wires going back in, and you just go, oh, such an awesome look. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to draw that directly, but
Yeah.
you notice those things. But if all you're doing is just doom scrolling,
Yeah.
there's always time for that. But I would say, like, when you're out in society, you should start to practice not always being on your phone because you really like taking in life gives back to your creativity. So I use it on a constant basis. I have a Google Keep document that I have lines from that I find funny. This last 2 weeks, I've gotten very little sleep because of all of this. Stressing of like, oh my gosh, this is a huge thing. Now I've got a lot more pressure. It's much easier to ramp up towards something that could be successful. It's different when you do this because the first thing is like, oh, rising star, yay, I'm gonna crash and burn. Um, and so there's a little extra pressure that I wasn't ready for, but it also creates diamonds. Hopefully, that's what you try to take out of it is like, okay, let me see if I can find a couple things that where that pressure pays off, right? So I'll sit in the middle of the night and I'll just giggle, unfortunately wake up my wife, and I'll be on Google Keep adding lines going, oh, that would be funnier to say in issue 5.
Yeah.
Oh, this would be funnier. Oh, we got it. This conversation between Chicken and Dork needs to go in. Okay, that can't work until 7. Okay, put that. And so I've got a Google Keep that sort of tracks all that stuff. And I can't lie, now that people have actually accepted my humor and what I do, it actually makes it easier
Mm.
to go, oh, I can be me.
Yeah.
I not only has my wife and my children accepted me,
Yeah.
but on a broader scale, I feel like, oh, people have accepted Brett
Yeah.
more, and that opens up. I was like, oh, I can be this type of funny. I can do this kind of stuff and be okay. Compared to everybody who says, make the comic like this, do it like this, it should be like this is the only way to do it. You really hold on to that because you're like, well, these are smart people, and I know they have me in mind, but they're only coming from their point of view, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to balance all of that. You kind of have to be a sieve, right? It's like the spaghetti. You want the noodles, but you don't want the hot water in your noodles,
Yeah.
right? So you got to dump all that stuff out. But you do want to listen to people too, because a good idea and smartness can come from anybody.
Yeah.
So you try to take it all in and then siphon it through the correct way to do it. So
I love that. I love that. Icebox says, as a teacher, 100% agree, but man, can kids be brutally honest.
oh yeah. Yes, they can. So when I've got 2 kids book series, and when I would go into schools and talk, there is no harder audience. I am ready for MegaCon because there is
Yeah.
no more brutally honest. Like, why'd you do that? How much money do you make? I mean, all the like most awkward questions, like flat out, is like, why do you have so much gray hair? Why are you old? Hey, why are you? You get all of them.
Where's your grandson, Brett?
Yeah, who's your grandson? And you get all of it. You get all that brutal honesty. Is like, I can't believe you're married. You get a lot of those kind of things. Oh, my favorite one was you were. He was in the middle of my talk, and he's like, "You were alive during the Gulf War." It was the funniest thing I've ever heard that kid say, and I could not stop. I could not hold my entire speech together. Everything fell. The teacher was cracking up in the back. It was so, again, brutally honest and funny, and just, and that's why also I wrote Chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I love that as well.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff just as much. So that's why he got written in, is because like I need that character because there's too many of these funny things that I want to remember and put in. So yeah. You were alive during the Gulf War? Oh man.
That pains me, man. I'm 50.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Andrew said I use Obsidian for my own universe and character Bible stuff like that. So he has a
nice.
blue shift coming. So
very cool. I've never used Obsidian. I'll look into it.
Yeah,
Scriver I used for a little bit, but Google Keep is really easy. For jotting down notes for me. So I'll look into Obsidian.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned MegaCon, and I did read earlier today that you will be at MegaCon. Will you be at the Image booth?
I don't know if Image has a booth there. All I know is I work with a group called Comic Sketch Art, and so we have like I think have half of every single convention nowadays. So I'm with them. I'm usually next to like Ryan Otley. It was really nice. Ryan Stegman, before he went on vacation, he's like, "Hey, we all got to be next to each other so we can sign Dork." And it was really kind of cool. It was like, it would be awesome to like be, I called it the Herber. It would be like Ryan, Brett, Ryan. It's just the Herber row, and it would just be like the three of us.
It has to become a character in Dork now. Herber.
right. Herber. Yeah. So that would be a nice time to do that. So usually I'm just in one of those rows. I never really know what booth I'm at. It's one of those things that you kind of get put at the last moment, and you're like, okay, this is where I'm at. Hopefully, I'll know in a couple of weeks. But I just announced that. I know I'm going to C2E2 as well, and I believe I just got confirmed for Terrificon as well. Nice. So those are the ones I absolutely know are yeses. And then kind of, I want to go all of them. I know a lot of people have contacted me to come to their shops to sign. They've asked me to, come to their convention, to go on a lot of podcasts. Luckily, we're doing this one with you, Tommy. But it's really nice to be the belle of the ball. But because I want to please everybody, and that's a byproduct I didn't realize was going to be really hard for me as somebody, because before, I'm the same guy from 2 weeks ago. So I tried to answer everything on Instagram. People had questions about drawing tools or tips or anything like that. I tried as hard as I could to answer everybody in a timely fashion. And now I don't know how to do all of it, to the point where I know, but I even have to talk. I had to talk to a couple of guys at Image and go, I don't want to be the bad guy, but I don't know how to be the good guy anymore. I don't know how to just give, because all that energy is like, well, I still want to make the book. The whole reason was to make the book. And I still want to hang out with family. I have a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old. I've read enough biographies on famous people to know how fast divorce and kids hating you can happen in this business. And that's the first lesson I want to take from those people is, I don't want to be that. I don't want to let this impact so much of that I forget the real reason why I'm doing it all, right? So it's definitely a hard thing. I'm learning as I go, but it is a juggling act of like, well, how much can I devote to that, and then how much preciousness do I have to hold on to and keep this, this bubble at bay and go, I'm sorry, I want to, I just can't answer every email. I can't do it anymore. It's too many. And you do. I feel bad. I want to help every single person, everybody who's excited, and everybody wants a drawing, and everybody wants this. And it's all amazing. It's all amazing to have all of that come to me. But I just can't give it all out. It's just too much energy. So.
I think that's very understandable, Brett. And I think most fans understand that. I think that's where the cons come in. Because then you're able to, have that kind of connection. And but I have no idea what you're experiencing right now, but it's a tough one. Family first, man. You got to take care of your family before anything else.
Really at the end of the day, I want my 2 kids to know who I am. I don't want them to just go, oh yeah, dad made a comic. Yay. It's like, oh, I want to give you a reason to be on the therapy couch. I want to be that reason. I don't want my absence to be the reason. I want to screw you up one-on-one.
You're gonna be there. I just want to make sure that I was the one that put
the energy to get you on that couch.
I love it, Brett. I love it, Brett, man. Well, I am planning to be at MegaCon. So I have a place to stay. So I really look forward to going by and just shaking your hand and But I'm super happy for you.
Thank you.
Like Andrew said earlier, it's so cool to see a unique IP just hit the stands and explode like it did. And I could not be happier for you. I really appreciate you spending some time with me tonight. We're at about the hour mark, so I want to be respectful of your time. But Brett, congratulations on everything. We cannot wait for issue 2. And don't worry, fans, if you missed the first 2 printings, the 3rd printing is coming out, so you will get your hands on an issue 1. So just be patient. I know Image and I know Brett, you're working as hard as you can to make sure that they have that. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you
very much. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I think the 3rd printing I just saw, I think it's March 18th. So I don't think there's too far behind. So if you went and got issue 2 and you just waited on it, it would be the next weekend after that for issue 1 again, if you wanted to be consistent on that. So hopefully we've kind of done it correctly to get everybody what they want and not having to pay absorbent crazy prices to get issue 1 and get on board with this kind of stuff. So we're trying, promise.
We're trying, yeah. No, definitely trying, and Image does such a good job with that. Looks like Andrew, I know Andrew's going to be there, so I look forward to seeing Andrew, but he's going to swing by. And yeah, I think just thank you and congrats, Brett. If you could just hold tight real quick. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Get into your comic book store. Make sure that you let them know that you want issue 2 and beyond. If you missed 1, make sure it's on there. Get it on your pull list. The pull list is the best friend of creators and publishers that guarantees that you get a copy and you won't miss anything. And just go to Image Comics website, because they'll tell you what's coming, and you could get it ahead of some of these titles that are coming up, because they put out a lot of amazing stuff. All right, everyone, have a great night, and we will talk to you all soon.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.